Hey, what's up guys, Damian here, and in this video we're gonna talk about the top 5 mistakes players do when playing PvP showdowns in Red Dead Online. And I'm not gonna focus on the common mistakes, the general mistakes such as go behind cover or don't rush in open spaces and stuff like that. No, this is gonna be like the in-game mechanics that players don't use or forget to use in Red Dead Online. And by not using those mechanics, they don't get the advantage in the firefights. So, beginning the list with number 5, we have the players that do not switch their point of use. Now, what this means is that when you have an obstacle or a corner or a building really, and the opponent is right at the other end of that, they don't switch their aiming perspective, so they cannot see the enemy obviously with the third person camera, and instead most of them they just go around with a shotgun, they try to rush them, and of course the enemy has already acquired the lock and just picks out and shoots them. And that's a very common tactical mistake. Some players even don't know that you can hit left arrow on the D-pad while aiming down sights to switch your aiming perspectives. So yeah, that's a very big mistake that players do. I mean, you should really avoid this, and you must learn to pick corners and just don't rush blindly. I mean, simply because you saw the enemy on the minimap. Okay, now mistake number 4 is players not using TONICS. And most of the players just underestimate the power of TONICS, or even forget to use them, or they just don't want to spend money on those, or they don't want to spend the time to acquire the herbs and then craft them. And that's also a big mistake, because the TONICS can be very powerful. I mean, if you have, if you take a potent health cure, for example, you can survive a shotgun blast, or even 2, depending on what range the enemy is, or and when you used the tonic, because as you know, with the tonics they lose their effects over time. So the sooner you get before entering a firefight, it's the better. So tonics, of course, are very important. I mean, especially if you want to use DEADEYE. I mean, you need for specific setups like a slippery bastard or a slow and steady setup, you absolutely need the health tonics for those. And now there are also some people that they don't use them because they are like, okay, I mean, if somebody shoots me in the head, I will just die, and I'll end up wasting 1 tonic for nothing really. And this game is mostly about headshots, so that's why most players do not use them. But you will be surprised by how many players just are terrible at getting headshots, and they just shoot at the body. And if you get shot at the body and you have the health cure, for example, or a miracle tonic used, you will survive a lot more shots, guys, and like I said, even shotgun blasts. Okay, now mistake number 3 is when players don't use special ammo. Now I don't understand why players do not use a special ammo, because the special ammo gives you an extra advantage, and that depends on what kind of special ammo you're using, of course. If you're using split points, you gain an accuracy advantage. If you're using a high velocity, you get a range advantage, which means that you can lock onto enemies from a further distance, farther away. And of course the express rounds gives you a damage boost. And now with the express rounds, the other mistake, or well, it's not totally a mistake, but I've seen a lot of players using the express ammo to get headshots. And well, if you want to go for a headshot setup, you can just use the split points or the high velocity from afar, because the split points, like I said, they increase their accuracy, so you get more consistent headshots, more reliable headshots. So those are the better ammo if you're going for a headshot setup. But The express, in my opinion, is when you are using a damage setup, you know, with damaging cards, stuff like that. And I've also made a separate video in which I talk about the different types of ammo more in depth if you want to check this out. Okay, now mistake number 2 is when players do not use the never without one ability card. And this is the card that basically has to do with your hat. If you are wearing a hat, you survive one headshot. And this is essentially like you are respawning with 2 lives. And I don't understand why people don't want to use this, or they refuse to use this, really. And I've seen even very high ranked players that do not use this card, and I mean, what are you doing? You absolutely need this in PvP. Now the only exception is if you are planning on running with a slippery bastard setup, because well, the whole purpose of the slippery bastard is you not getting shot at all. But still, I mean, if you are unaware and somebody gets a lock on you, I mean, they can still kill you. So even with the slippery bastard, I would recommend you use it. Unless you are very good and you have a situational awareness, that's up to you, of course. So yeah, the never without one card is quite possibly one of the most useful cards in the game. The best defensive card in my opinion, and everyone must get this, everyone must upgrade it to the max. So yeah, and now mistake number 1, and this is by far the biggest mistake a player can do, is not using DEADEYE. Now, I mean, this game, guys, is all about using the DEADEYE. This is the main mechanic of this game, and if you are not using that, then what are you doing here, really? And this is also a very common mistake. People just forget to use their DEADEYE. Some may even, you know, they just underestimate it, or they're like, oh, okay, I mean, I can shoot the enemy without DEADEYE, I can get headshots, I mean, I don't need the DEADEYE, I mean. And no, guys, you need the DEADEYE, you must use it. And of course, I'm not saying that you must spam it all the time and abuse it. Well, you can do that, of course, but you can also use it the smart way, I mean, strategically. Like before the enemy shows up, or for example with slippery bastard you have to activate it before you come across an enemy, because if they get the lock onto you they can still shoot you. And with slow and steady you have to play defensively, and with painted black you have to generally stay at a further distance, unless you are using a shotgun. In that case you're gonna be at a close distance. And painted black, in my opinion, is not the best at the medium ranges. Mostly it's slow and steady for that. Of course, the slippery bastard can be used either defensively and offensively. And of course, you have the team-oriented cards, the focus fire and the quiet and inspiration. Focus fire, in order to use it to increase the damage of you and your team, and quiet and inspiration to heal yourself and your team, of course, and a moment to recuperate, which is the fastest healthy ability card in the game if you want to heal yourself. So yeah, guys, that was all the mistakes, really. And people just do not seem to do this. I mean, they just forget about all these things. They simply ignore it, or they just spend their money to buy guns they don't necessarily need. I mean, they buy like Mauser pistols, or I don't know, double action revolvers, or I don't know. I mean, all the useless guns that are not very viable in PvP. And instead, I would recommend you spending money on your ability cards, upgrade them. Learn how to use your DEADEYE, use the never without one hat card, learn to pick corners by switching your aiming perspectives, use your tonics, and of course use your special ammo in order to get a range advantage, or an accuracy advantage, or a damage buff. So yeah, that was everything, guys. Thanks for watching this video, and let me know if I missed something, or in what order you think those mistakes should be, and those are all of them are of course important things that players forget, but well, let me know what you think. So yeah, thanks for watching guys, take care.